Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news. Joining BJ Rains today is KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Mike Prater. Listen to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 95.3 FM The Ticket and online at KTIK.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now, here's Mike Prater and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing? Happy Tuesday. I had to catch myself there. It is a rare Tuesday appearance with Mike Prater, KTIK host with Johnny Prater in the Ballgame. You can hear him weekdays 3 to 6. We got our friend Jay Tust welcoming in new baby boy. Happy for him. Brooks J. Christopher Tust, all 9 pounds, 9 ounces of him. So he has taken a little bit of time off. I think we may get some appearances from him at Media Days next week if he can sneak down there for that. But for the time being, you're stuck with Mike Prater on a Tuesday. And Mike, appreciate you for filling in today. I think you're going to do tomorrow as well as we kind of shift things around this week without Jay and as we get ready for Media Days next week. But thanks for waking up early on a Tuesday. How's it going?
Hey, no problem. Glad to do it, and glad to do it for Jay. Anything I can do for Jay and his family and a brand new baby. I heard that they're already at the gym pumping weights right now. So he's a week old, and he's already bench pressing 11 pounds. So congratulations to the Jay Tust family. It's a beautiful baby, and I'm more than happy to fill in today.
Did you find out when your kids were born? Did you find out ahead of time if it was boy or girl, or because I don't think I could do that. I need to have the room ready, the clothes, all that stuff. And Jay had a girl for their first child, and then they decided to be surprised on this one, and out came a baby boy. I'm not sure I could do that.
I did the surprise thing both times, but that was a long time ago when everybody did that. Now it's the gender reveal party and all that kind of nonsense. No, I waited till the very last second, and there it was, and you figure it out, and then you go home and paint the room pink or blue, right?
You can tell pretty quick when it comes out, yeah. I don't know if I could have. I don't know. I just for my personality, I guess I needed to already have the clothes and the room ready to go. But congrats to Jay. Yep. And again, he'll be kind of out for a while, maybe popping in here and there before we get ready for fall camp. I mentioned Media Days. Mike Prater, 1 week from today, the Boise media contingent, including the BNN and KTIK team, will be traveling to Las Vegas. A week from today, Johnny and Bob and the KTIK, all you guys will be out there at the cabana outside at Stadium Swim at the pool doing the show. And then Wednesday and Thursday we'll be inside the ballroom there at the Circa Resort and Casino. I need a live camera on Mike Prater the first time he walks into the sports book at Circa. Just the palace and just looking around at the magnitude. You've been in a sports book or two. They dubbed this by square footage the largest sports book in the world. 3 levels, all the screens, the odds. We're going to have a tough time, pulling you away to do the show, I think.
The worst vacation day I've ever taken in my entire life. And I'm on vacation that Monday and Tuesday, celebrating my 1-year anniversary, which I haven't screwed up yet. So kudos to me for not screwing up 1 year. And I've looked at Circa Swim photos on Google more than any other photos in the history of Google. So I love it. I'm fascinated by this place. And I'll be somewhere deep enjoying romance while Bob and Johnny are on the pool hanging out with you and the owners and VIPs and showgirls. And I cannot believe I'm missing that one, BJ.
It doesn't get dark in Vegas till 8:30, 9 o'clock, and the pool's open till 11 p.m. So maybe Wednesday after we get off the air, 5:30, whatever time it is. I think we need to at least get out there and enjoy one beverage, and at least get out there and show you Stadium Swim for a couple hours, maybe Wednesday night.
Oh, take the word maybe out of it. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'll figure out one way to get out there, and I don't take my shirt off in public, but I'll jump in the pool here. I'll place a bet. I'll have a cocktail, and hopefully I'm hanging out with you guys, having a good time. So we'll figure out whether it's breakfast for Thursday or dinner for Wednesday. I know the show's going to be out there on Tuesday. I think it's a cool deal, and I appreciate you for helping put all this together, putting the team together, and we may even have a couple of cool announcements next week, or you may have a couple of cool announcements next week. So I'm fired up about a week from today. I'll be back in from the mountains and diving in full blast and waiting for a report from Johnny and BJ from the pool.
Now, I don't know if I should say this or not, but, we do have a connection with Circa. We have a sponsorship deal with them. We have a trade agreement for some of the rooms and things like that. For Johnny, for Bob, for their significant others who are also going on the trip, maybe for some of the other local Boise media members, that if you're going and you happen to be on the flight that I am on at 11 that arrives in Vegas earlier in the day, you are missing out, Mike Prater, because the Circa limo will be picking us up.
Oh, see, I told you, the worst vacation day I've ever taken in my entire life. So
get back earlier in the day, get on the 10:30 flight. You can have a tequila in the limo on the way to do the show on Tuesday. Come on.
Yeah, that'll go well. I'll ditch the wife on that one, and I may not make it to the second anniversary.
You're along. That's what Bob and Johnny are doing. Come on.
Yeah, I can't believe Bob and Johnny are bringing the gal. This is a work trip. Come on, man.
Well, it's going to be fun, and I figured, why not kick off our partnership with Circa and 95.3 the ticket and BNN, and you got to pay $40 or $50 for an Uber these days in Vegas anyway. So I figured let's all just pool together, and we'll be riding in style in the stretch limo over to Circa, and then Johnny and Bob will head out to the pool and do the show. I think I'll make an appearance. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. We'll talk to Commissioner Navarez. Will be one-on-one on the shows. We'll have Andy Avalos, the players, Riley Smith, DJ Schramm, all kinds of interviews. I believe Derek Stevens, the CEO, owner of Circa, is going to come on our show, on your show. It's going to be a lot of fun down there. And I really, as much as I brag about Circa, I've never met someone that's actually seen it and gone, yeah, this didn't live up to the hype. And so for you and Johnny both, I'm very excited to have you guys finally get a chance to see it and see what I'm talking about. And hopefully we can make this a yearly thing. We are excited that BNN is helping because, you and Johnny, this iteration of Prater in the ball game, the Idaho Sports Talk has never been as a show to media days yet. So we're excited that you guys are going to be down there. Bob will be down there doing interviews as well. So we're going to have the whole family down there. And as you said, Mike Prater, we do have some cool announcements coming. The first one will be on Monday, July 17th. So we're less than a week away. And I will call this, aside from, I guess, starting Bronco Nation news, and that announcement is the biggest. This will be the biggest announcement we have made in the history of Bronco Nation news. So wow. I'm very excited about that. I'm not sure if you've heard about the announcements coming next week or not, but very excited about this, Mike. You're going to be pleasantly surprised, I think, with what we got going on. And so Monday, to kick off media days, to kick off football season, we got something in store for you if you're a BNN subscriber. And if you're not a BNN subscriber, we're hoping next week you're going to subscribe once you hear this news, because it is what I would call a major announcement, the biggest announcement we've made at Bronco Nation News. We did announce yesterday, Mike, that I will be heading to Canada. BNN is heading to Canada for the foreign trip. Vancouver, 2 games, over to Kamloops for 1 game. We're talking interviews. We're going to do full pregame, postgame shows. We'll have highlights. We'll have Coach Rice live after these games. We're treating these like regular season games here for Boise State basketball. Believe we're probably going to be the only media outlet that goes on this trip. So full coverage in the summer of Boise State basketball as they get set for another huge season coming up. And my goal during this trip, whether it's on pre and post game shows, whether it's the morning shows, which will be from the team hotel, Mike Prater, is to let fans kind of get to know the players and coaches here. I'm hoping to get an interview with every single player on the team at some point during this 4-day trip. And we're working out some details and things, but we'll have pregame shows, postgame shows, and our 3 sponsors that paid for this trip and made it possible. I have to thank Brian King and RBC Wealth Management, our friend Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate, and of course, Atkinson's Mirror and Glass. They've been a sponsor of our golf tournament in years past. They've popped in as a sponsor as well. So thank you to our 3 sponsors, Atkinson's Mirror and Glass, Bauscher Real Estate, RBC Wealth Management. Mike Prater, BNN's heading to Canada.
I think that's pretty cool, man. That's really cool. So I was actually popped over to the Boise Hawks game last night and watched that game. And went over to the Tyson Degenhart table as he was signing autographs, elbowed and bumped some kids out of the way to chat with Tyson. And we talked about the Canadian trip. Actually, we dropped your name, and I said, make sure you give BJ lots of fun access while he's up in Canada. So I think that's a pretty cool trip. I think they leave at the end of the month, and good for you for pulling the trigger on that. The resources you're dumping into this thing, nicely done, and I cannot wait to see what that kind of coverage is.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Going to be exciting. And you mentioned Tyson Degenhart. We should go ahead and mention tonight, Mike Prater, thanks to Idaho Central Credit Union, episode 3 of the Tyson Degenhart Show tonight. We had to juggle around some schedules. We're switching up the episodes a little bit. We do have Taylon Green coming up soon. We do have Marlene Tromp coming up soon. But tonight is going to kind of be a get to know some of the newcomers episode. Cam Martin and Omar Stanley will both be on live with Tyson Degenhart. So that should be kind of fun. Hopefully Tyson Degenhart interviewing, getting to know Omar Stanley and Cam Martin live tonight, episode 3 of the Tyson Degenhart Show. Again, 8 p.m. on the social media channels of Bronco Nation News. So make sure you're subscribing and following us on YouTube. That's the easiest way to get all of our broadcasts. So again, YouTube, and that's where you can find us, youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. 8 p.m. tonight. Bring your questions for Tyson Degenhart, episode 3 of the Tyson Degenhart Show. We're going to talk about number 4 on our list, and I actually am very happy Mike Prater is the one on here today so we can debate this a little bit. But first, do want to thank a couple of our sponsors. I've been long-winded here, but Cutwater Spirits, 30 flavors, pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can find one at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits. Rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. Check them out. ROEpaint.com. They'll come out, give you a free estimate, talk you through the process. The one-day install for the concrete coatings is 5 times stronger than epoxy, and they can change and transform the look of your back patio, your garage, your basement in one day. Check them out at rowpaint.com. Lithia Ford of Boise anniversary sale is still going on. Make sure you check out lithiafordboise.com to view their full inventory of vehicles. They've got Taylon Green and a new F-150. They can help you do the same at lithiafordboise.com. And if you're looking for a new job, how about Transportation Compliance Service? Check them out, transcomservice.com. Get into the trucking industry. It's a perfect time. Highly recommend this company, and they can help you get on all the permits and things you need and get out there towing that first load in no time. So check them out, Transportation Compliance Service, TCS, transcompservice.com. Okay, Mike, we're down to our final 4. And we did this exercise, as I talked about with Johnny yesterday on Idaho Sports Talk last Friday. We went 5 through 1, our most important players on the team. I think for the most part, in some order, we were pretty close on the 5. One guy here and there. I think you had Dimitri Washington in your top 5. But in terms of Taylon Green, DJ Schramm, we had Cade Beresford yesterday, who I don't think made your list, but was probably close. The one that I think we disagree on, you and Johnny and I, and which is fine, and I think this has to be our milkshake bet this year is and I think it's going to be a debate at the water cooler all around the city of Boise, to be honest. George Holani versus Ashton Genty, and I think Ashton Genty is kind of the hot flavor of the month, and the way he finished the season last year, what he did in the bowl game, rushing for almost 200 yards. I think a lot of people are on team Ashton Genty and think he's going to be the number 1 back and lead this team in rushing and have a huge year. I have Ashton Genty ranked higher than George Holani. I will say that. So I do have Ashton Genty, at least for the discussion here, above, and I may have switched that because I knew you were coming on today, but I'm not saying anything about Ashton Genty negatively. I think he's going to be a heck of a player here. But the number 4 most important player on my list for this team in 2023 is George Holani. Now, I don't know how low he would be on your list, if he's not even in your top 10, if he's 15, whatever. I just think a 5th-year starter returning to this team, 2,000-yard seasons. We know the stats and what he's done. I just think that, from a leadership standpoint, from a comfort level standpoint, I still think George Holani is a very important piece to this team. And so I'm not saying Ashton Genty is not. And like I said, we're going to talk about him maybe tomorrow, Mike, or maybe I'll switch it up and we'll do him Thursday. So we're not just talking running backs the whole time. We'll talk DJ Schramm tomorrow. But I guess I want to not say anything negatively about Ashton Genty. That's not really the argument for me. I guess for you or for some others, I guess it's the fact that, okay, well, if George Holani weren't here, Ashton Genty is going to be just fine. I get that. I understand that. I think they're going to be neck and neck to lead the team in rushing. I guess I'm just not ready to, I don't know if give up on George Holani is the right word, but I'm not ready to have him just totally hand over this team's running game to Ashton Genty. I still think George Holani is going to get the first carry against Washington. I think he's going to get a lot of carries this season. And I think being able to keep Ashton Genty fresh and not pound him into the ground and have a guy like George Holani that can be there is still very important to this team. And I got Taylen Green at number 4, fourth most important player on this team.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. And I think you meant George Holani, number 4, right? You just said Taylen Green.
Yes. Yeah. Taylen Green's not number 4.
No, he's. We'll talk about him later on. But number 4, you're not wrong. So this is a matter of opinion. This is a matter of preference, and everything you said is 100% correct. When you said Prater, I'm not even sure you have him in your top 10. I'm not sure I have him in my top 10 either. When we did this exercise last week on Idaho Sports Talk, I took George Holani outside of my top 5. I didn't put him in there because of what you just, you summed it up well, and we all feel the same way. Ashton Genty is this beautiful security blanket. So I took George Holani out of my most invaluable players in the top 5. Usually when you do that with a 3-year star running back, I'm going to get a ton of hate mail. I'm not going to get a ton of hate mail because, you said it. I think most fans want the sexy new shiny toy, and the sexy new shiny toy is Ashton Genty. I'll go one step further. And I've been pushing this drum for a couple of years since we got out of that stupid COVID season. George Holani is a notoriously slow starter. He's played 4 seasons. Throw the COVID season out. Yep. 19 and then 21 and 22. He has very limited production in September. Very few touchdowns, very few 100-yard games. I think we're only talking like 2 or 3 touchdowns in the entire month of September in his entire career. A couple of 100-yard games, very little production. He's a slow starter. By the time November and December rolls around, he is a beast, and I think he's a really good beast, and he's going to continue to be a really good beast. I'm not so sure, and I think the one area of fact that you might be wrong is I think Ashton Genty, there's a really good chance, more than 50% chance, he's your starting quarter running back against Washington. He's better. He's more explosive, and I think he's going to be more of a problem for Washington. I think they'll use George Holani as plan B here, plan B there a lot, but not number 1. So by the time October 1st rolls around on the calendar, I think Ashton Genty will squarely be RB1, and George Holani will have a very productive role in the backfield behind him.
They have those great prop bets, like the first play of the game, is it run or pass or whatever. We should first carry of the season, George Holani or Ashton Genty. I would just think from a and again, you have a new OC, so I guess that could change things. But I just feel like from a, not to honor him, but what do you say? Just from a I just feel like he's a 5th-year starter. If they're both going to play a lot, I think George Holani, whether he's the starter or not, I think George Holani starts the Washington game and gets the first carry. But I guess part of it for me is like I expect them to both. Why I expect both of them to be so good is because I expect both of them to keep each other fresh, keep each other healthy. They both bring different dimensions to the table. So I feel like if one is gone, the other one's not going to be as good. So that's part of the reason I have. Yes, if you took George Holani off, like could Ashton Genty still rush for 1,000 yards and be a great running back? Yes, but do I love Tyler Crow all of a sudden getting more carries? Do I, all of a sudden now if Ashton Genty gets hurt, all of a sudden you're in trouble. So from a just the player on the field by himself and you take nothing else, yes, you would probably say that because you have Ashton Genty, you're fine. That makes Holani not as important to the team. And you could argue that maybe it makes Ashton Genty not as important to the team because you have Holani there as well, if you want to go the other way. I guess I'm just factoring in the safety blanket of potential injuries, of wear and tear, of usage, staying, different things you're allowed to do with both guys because you do have the other guy waiting. And then I put some, a 5th-year senior over a 2nd-year guy. I put a little weight into that as well in terms of a 5th-year senior still having an importance. You have a young quarterback. You have, a young running back aside from him. I think that a 5th-year senior like a George Holani, and he's not the most vocal leader that's going to go out and get in guys' faces and stuff like that, but a guy that leads by example and has been there, done that, and is not going to get phased, playing against Washington or things like that. I guess I weigh all the other stuff than just the player on the field when it comes to George Holani.
Yeah, and his leadership is going to be spectacular. Whether he plays every single down of the entire season or gets hurt on the first play of the season, he's going to be around with this program and be a strong leader. And I think just his presence with this football team is a very smooth, strong presence. When he announced that he was coming back, not only were fans surprised, I would imagine some teammates and maybe even some coaches were surprised. And it was like a big, that's awesome, man. It's like, it's just a great feeling that he's going to come back and dedicate one more year to Boise State football and give him this beautiful security blanket. So at the end of the day, I fully see Ashton Genty maybe getting like being a 1,200-yard back, George Holani being an 800-yard back, And there you go. You got a couple of backs with 2,000 rushing yards. Now, we can throw in Taylor Green and everybody else. We've talked about whether this team can get 3 1,000-yard rushers or rush for 3,000 yards as a team, which I think is a really nice milestone. It doesn't happen very often around here. So as a group, collectively as a group, I don't think Boise State running attack has ever been better or stronger or deeper or more dependable or more consistent. They've got all the right tools. And don't forget, both these guys, especially Holani, are great at pass pro and great at catching the ball out of the backfield. Genty is getting better at pass pro. He's can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think they have all the tools, all the weapons, and it just really leads into what I think should be a dynamic offense this year.
Perry's asking how many times has Boise State had a combo like Holani and Genty? Now, you've had the times where you had the Jay Ajayi and then a Jeremy McNichols, but he was a true freshman. You had the McNichols, but then you had Alexander Madison as a true freshman. To have a Holani and then also a guy like Genty who's now back for a sophomore year and already proved it. I mean, you know the history of Boise State football way more than me, but I wouldn't imagine there's a ton of 1-2 punches like this they've had.
No, they've had plenty of starters 1 and starter 1A that are pretty good. I think this is better than it's ever been. I mean, we did a segment last week on Idaho Sports Talk. If you really want to go back and if you really want to get the hardcores, the greatest rushing season in Boise State history was 1979. They averaged 250 yards per game, and maybe it was 350 yards per game, and it was Terry Zahner, David Hughes, and Cedric Minner, 3 of the greatest running backs in Boise State history, all on one team. That team was on probation that year. They got in a little trouble the year before. So it's widely considered one of the greatest teams in Boise State history. And it all started with 3 of the best running backs. And they figured out a way to keep all 3 of those guys healthy. And they had the best running season. It's the oldest team offensive record in the Boise State record book. And I think this year's group, it's going to be tough to challenge it, but I think they can push it a little bit.
Josh Davis on the ICCU YouTube chat asking if this is the best O-line Holani has had.
On paper, I think going in, it's the most dependable, but we've always been surprised. Ball game the other day brought up the fact that, there's an offensive lineman or a center, and he was supposed to play the first game, and then he was going to be ready for the third game. And at the end of the season, we're still waiting for the KHG to become a starter. So every year we get popped with this crazy surprise with the offensive line. I cannot wait to talk to Andy Avalos next week at Media Days to find out what's exactly going on with this offensive line. Not that he's going to give us every detail, but I think on paper, dependability-wise, it's steady. I don't think they have a rock star. I know Cade Beresford's getting a lot of love, and he should, but he's not the NFL dependable left tackle that Boise State's used to around here. He's going to be steady, and maybe he'll grow into that kind of a role. Sure. But I think there's 5, 6, 7 guys, 8 guys on this offensive line. And on paper, it has a chance to be totally dependable.
Kaysen Briggs says DJ Harper and Doug Martin would have been similar if DJ hadn't had the injury issues. That's probably true. Yep. So what do you make? I guess what should be expected? What are you expecting from George Holani this season?
I think George Holani, and I think they might even go into the season with this as a mindset is, you don't need to run him, with a whole bunch of carries. He doesn't need to carry the ball 200-300 times this year. I think he's going to be, I don't want to say plan B. That's totally disrespectful. Plan 1A. Ashton Jenney is going to be plan 1, and George Holani is going to be 1A. Take the emotions out of it and just give me who's the best running back? I think it's Ashton Genty. I really, truly believe it's Ashton Genty. And maybe that's just because selfishly, I want to see him unleash the beast and just go be RB1 and just dominate Alexander Madison style. That's what I love. That's the most entertaining I've ever been in a long time for Boise State. It's just Alexander Madison out there just busting butt and getting carries and doing what he had to do as a workhorse. And I think Ashton Genty can be that guy. So let Ashton Genty push him a little bit. Give him a lot of carries. Give him a lot of responsibilities. And then when he needs it, here comes George Holani. And more than when he just needs it, I think George Holani should be a very active part of this team. I just don't want him to be RB1.
I see it. I think it's going to be very fascinating. So if there were, I think we talked about this like last month, but if there were a Vegas line on who leads the team in rushing, you think the favorite would be Ashton Genty?
Yeah, and you gave me a good idea. If you're looking for value bets, you probably couldn't get this specific prop bet, but who's going to get the first carry in the Boise State-Washington game? I'd go Ashton Genty, absolutely. That's a great value pick for me. Now that means entirely, because I'm a terrible bettor, I'm a terrible predictor, that means George Holani is going to run for 275 yards against Washington.
I think we'll need to do, whether it's on your show or our show next week, we need to get some sort of, put some of these on paper and do a little, while we're in Vegas, a little over-under. Maybe we even film the segment at the sports book to talk about some of these over-unders. And things. But going to be very interesting. George Holani and where he finishes up. I am still, again, I'm not off the Ashton-Jeanty train by any means. I think he's a phenomenal player. I just am not giving up on, and I know you're not giving up on him either. That's not the right phrase, but I still believe that George Holani has a ton to give to this team and is going to be a very important player moving forward. So we'll see how all that works out.
Real quick, do you see George Holani having an NFL career?
I would say right now, if you looked at the two of them, you would say Ashton-Jeanty has a better chance at an NFL career. Sure,
I would agree with that. I would, to answer my own question, if I had to guess, or if I had to pick, I would say no. I think he's going to have a shot. I think he's going to give it his best shot, but nothing. Nothing crazy screams NFL career about George Holani. He's an unbelievable student athlete. He's going to give it a shot. He's right there on the edge, and maybe this season kicks him into that. But I just don't see it. I just think he's going to have a really good year and then just go off and be a great human being.
Hey, I mentioned Talon Green. You can meet him on Sunday, Mike Prater. He will be at Lean Feast in Meridian Sunday from 12 to 2. Go meet Talon Green, try out Lean Feast, have lunch. He's even going to be back there behind the counter making some meals. It's going to be a lot of fun. So this Sunday, 12 to 2, Lean Feast in Meridian. It's right there at Eagle Road in Ustick. Check it out. Perfect time. Hope to see you Sunday. I think I'll bring the boys by for lunch. Lean Feast in Meridian. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Mike Prater doesn't know this, but we will discuss it next week, I think, when we make our big announcements. But the Blue and Orange Store is helping make one of the special announcements possible next week. Theblueandorangestore.com. Make sure you check it out, theblueandorangestore.com. Free shipping, any order over $40, and we're very thankful and appreciative of the Blue and Orange Store. Mike, I mentioned our Canada trip. Thanks to Matt Boucher, Boucher Real Estate. The number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Boucher. No home is too big or too small for Matt Boucher and his team. Check them out at Boucher Real Estate. I mentioned Atkinson's Mirror and Glass also stepping up to help sponsor this. Fourth generation family business helping Idahoans build equity in their homes since 1951. You can visit them at AtkinsonsMirrorandGlass.com, 208-375-3762. Proud sponsor of Boise State Athletics, the Horseshoe Collective. Go support Atkinson's Mirror and Glass. And I mentioned Brian King. You can give him a call, 389-6812. Again, another former BSU basketball player stepping up to help the coverage of this tournament. So very appreciative for Brian King. He's got Nick Duncan working for him now, Mike, and they got a nice team there with RBC Wealth Management. So appreciate our sponsors for making the Canadian trip possible. And crazy to believe we're going to be in Las Vegas in 1 week, and then we got media days, and then the Canadian trip, and then fall camp is here. I mean, the quote unquote dog days of summer, Mike Prater, are pretty much over.
Holy cow, it's crazy. Yep, we're all going to sneak in the last couple of vacation days, and everybody's buying preseason magazines, getting their preseason list. I'm gonna dive in tomorrow night. We all got votes and ballots for the Mountain West.
Yeah, I want to talk about that on tomorrow's show, probably.
Yeah. So tomorrow. I've blocked out about 3 hours. I'm doing 3 hours of crazy homework tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that. This is the exciting part of the year, the transition from summer to the football season. And I'm starting to feel the tingles, BJ.
And I did, a lot of people on here were excited about Vegas. They were excited about Stadium Swim and Circa and seeing all that. But Dylan Cooper is one that would prefer not to see Prater take his shirt off, he said.
Dylan Cooper is the smartest guy I've ever not known. So smart guy, Dylan Cooper.
Mike, appreciate you for jumping on Tuesday. Apologize for the late start as well. But we'll be, I think tomorrow we're okay for 9 o'clock. And then we'll finish out the week with Johnny on Thursday and Friday. Again, congratulations to Jay. Biggest announcement in the history of Bronco Nation News coming on Monday. Don't miss it. And then another one that's just slightly behind it coming later in the week as well. So thanks again, Mike. Thanks to Bob for helping get us on the air as well. We'll be listening 3 to 6 today. Idaho Sports Talk with Bob Prater. Ball game. You guys will have another great show. KTIK 95.3 FM, 1350 AM. Go download their app. You can listen to KTIK.com as well. Lots of ways to hear them. So happy for our partnership, and it's only going to get stronger here as we move forward. Excited, really excited for next week. It's going to be an awesome week for KTIK and Bronco Nation News. So have a good rest of your Tuesday. If anything pops up, we'll pop on here on BNN. Otherwise, they'll have you covered on Idaho Sports Talk. And again, me and Prater will be back 9 a.m. We'll do it again tomorrow as we continue to get you closer to the season and Mountain West Media Day. So have a great day. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. Thanks to our subscribers. Thanks to you. Have a great day. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.